Does your daughter or son struggle in math class? Do they get easily distracted or just really don't like math? Maybe you've tried tutors who are good at explaining math but haven't been able to reawaken their interest or change their attitude. At Path to Math Clarity, we have a way for high school and junior high school students to learn to enjoy math and tackle new problems with courage and creativity. The key is to understand that most students have picked up some habits and perspectives that get in their way. In fact, the problem may go back a number of years. Perhaps your son or daughter liked math in early grade school, but something happened along the way. Math became more frustrating, more confusing. They may have lost the motivation to continue. This is understandable. After all, who wants to spend their time wrestling with confusion, certain they'll make a mistake? A Path to Math Clarity tutor can show students good habits and helpful perspectives. Without bad habits dragging them down, they learn to view math as an exciting challenge rather than a chore. Your student will discover the pleasure of sticking with a hard problem all the way through to the solution. In this video, we're going to show you 3 common habits that cause problems for math students and how we can change these habits and create new ones. Some students have learned to view math problems as quick sprints to the finish, rather than longer adventures into the unknown. Some have learned to get by with shortcuts, rather than seeking a clear understanding of math. And some may rely on taking giant leaps into new or confusing problems, instead of breaking them down into manageable steps. Now let's look at how to turn those bad habits into positive ones. First, learn to see math as a journey, not a race. The reason we use path in our name is that we think of math problem solving as a path or journey, even an adventure. In early elementary school, your son or daughter may have picked up the habit of sprinting to the finish. Unfortunately, this can work against them later when math becomes more like a journey into the unknown. They won't be able to see the finish line at first, and racing is no longer helpful. As in any adventure, at times students may get disoriented or confused. They'll encounter twists and turns, make mistakes, and need to backtrack. A Path to Math Clarity tutor can help your student understand that it's okay not to see the way to the answer at the beginning of a problem. We can assure them that they're not a bad student if they need to explore before they find their way. We also help students get a new attitude about the feeling of confusion. Confusion can be scary for anyone. Yet it's possible to learn to become comfortable with this emotion and even use it to develop deeper levels of understanding. Finally, we show students that mistakes along the way are perfectly okay. Your student can relax when they realize they can recover from their mistakes and even learn from them. Second, seek clarity rather than shortcuts. We have the word clarity in our name. That's because we want students not just to get the right answers on the test this week, but to build a foundation of clear understanding that will support them into the future. When math gets more complicated, your student may feel lost when looking at an unfamiliar problem. Students often give up the idea they can understand math and look for the simplest way to get by. This kind of crutch can work in the short term, but it leads to more mistakes on homework and more missed questions on exams. Over time, they depend more on crutches and are even less likely to truly understand. We can give your student tools they can use when they hit that moment of confusion and start to feel lost, so they can get unlost. Let's think of it this way. Imagine you're lost in the woods and don't see a way out. In fact, you can't see very far in any direction. But let's also suppose you have some experience being in the woods and you have a compass and other navigational tools. You can begin to take constructive action. You can check your orientation with the compass and start to explore. You can stay alert to check if you're going in the wrong direction. You can backtrack and try a new direction if necessary. In the same way, when a student is lost or confused about math, they can stop and explore. They can make guesses about where to proceed, and they can check their progress. They can catch mistakes and start over if necessary, without blaming themselves. This helps your student to develop clear intuition about how math works. This year's math class will get easier, and they'll have a solid foundation for next year and beyond. And finally, take small steps. In any kind of dangerous or high-pressure situation, you feel more secure moving in small steps. For instance, if you were crossing a fast-moving river on slippery stones, you'd want the stones to be close together. In the same way, students feel more secure with unfamiliar math problems if they take small steps. Taking small steps doesn't mean going slowly. Your student can learn to do the small steps quickly. In fact, by feeling confident and avoiding mistakes, small steps might help them move faster in the end. Here's an example of moving by small steps. Don't worry if you don't understand the math. We think you'll get the basic idea. Suppose your student sees the following problem. Their reaction might be confusion and feeling like they don't recognize anything. We direct them to ask themselves two things. What is familiar? What is unfamiliar? We recommend they write them down. The smallest familiar thing is a clue. It can be as simple as recognizing that the variable x is present. We encourage students to affirm themselves for this. Maybe they write a few more familiar things. Then we ask them to note what is unfamiliar. They can write it down and not worry about understanding it yet. They might take a couple guesses about how to proceed. In this example, they might wonder if they should use the quadratic formula, or should they divide both sides by x. Then we ask them to pick one idea and run with it. This is important. We teach them to stick with their guesses long enough to see where they lead. Then they can stop to check the result. We teach them how to sense in what ways their guess is close to the solution and when it's time to backtrack. They can continue taking small steps like these until they feel confident in their answer. Students naturally have more persistence when they take small steps. If your student gives up easily, it may be because they're trying to move in leaps, making the problem too hard for themselves. So, now you have a better understanding of how Path to Math Clarity can help. By teaching students to look at math problem solving as a path rather than a sprint, by giving them more clarity and helping them break a problem into tiny steps, we help them enjoy math more. After working with us, your student will have more motivation and persistence. This leads naturally to better grades. And the better grades don't come from struggling harder, but by finding an easier way to move forward. The skills we teach students are ones they can take with them as they progress to more advanced levels of math. Skills like concentration and persistence can carry over into other areas of life too. We'd like your student to trust their abilities and access their creativity more, no matter whether they're studying another subject or pursuing their dreams beyond school. If this sounds like something that could help, take action today. For a free consultation, contact us on our website, pathtomathclarity.com. You'll also find articles and resources that can help you understand our methods in greater detail. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the Path to Math Clarity.